Now you're at the opening price. Let's see if you can start running up higher here. This is right by that buying area. We're going to give this a moment here. Continuations, that's the only thing I would say we need to improve here. Remember, watch the 200 moving average, as well as watch the 4th and the 5th reversal point to the top side for more puts, right? All right, family. So again, the first order of business here is going to be first seeing if this market's going to buy you right back up, send you right back up above 606, get to 607, 608. You still have a lot of resistance around that area. So since you're stuck around the same area right now, my first thought in my head is you're just going to rip above everything. That's really the only way for you to now go about doing business here, right? You've already been at this area for way too long. If you look at the current trend and you zoom out, last time you fell from the top, again, zoom out a little bit more. You'll see if I go to the left. Is that it for the data? Actually, wait, I just ran out of data. Give me 1 second. All right, let's zoom in here. So again, family, we were just talking about this 606 level, 605 level. Now, the one issue I have with this level is that, again, we've stayed here for a little while. And because we've been here for a little while now, if you look at where you fell last time, you fell from a similar area, right? When you look at the top, you fell from this area. When you zoom out a little bit more, you fell from this area up here. Keep zooming out, and you'll see all the areas that you're basically falling from. Now, once you document all that, and you basically accounted for all the areas you fell from, you go to the right side. I mean, I would much rather you do this on like a chart like this right here, where it's a little more empty. Actually, wait. There you go. Like a chart like this where it's a little more empty, so you can actually see what's going on here. And we played calls down here. We timed the $20 jump. We played calls down here. We timed the $19 jump. Over here was like 30 something. Over here it wasn't that big, honestly. It was like $10, $20, as you can see. It was just like 15. So it wasn't that crazy. Before, it was kind of crazy in the beginning of January and towards the end of December. But right now, you basically got bought up from this bottom to this top. You're at King's Point, which this is a point right here due to these points right here. That's why I have this circle right here. And you're basically at it, which means that if you don't hold this area now, I could see you getting sold off from here. So point blank, that's why I'm not even paying attention to this. I'm going to hold my puts right now, and we're going to give this another day and see exactly how this goes here. Because again, you're at my selling area, and this area ties in with these two areas, just like how this one right here ties in with this one, and this one. Everything just ties into each other. So again, I'm just copying the trend, and if I copy it correctly, we should be able to fall today. Theoretically. Because last time, again, you fell Monday, right? And by the way, we timed both drops, right? So right here, we were in some puts. The puts went from $4 to around $200 each. That's 5,000% overnight. We then had another set of puts. Those went up only 200% the second time, which makes sense. I mean, you're just stuck in the same range, right? And we did not play the calls here because you're just stuck in the same range. At this point, it's bad for business, you know? And that's kind of what I've been telling everybody on the family here in the Discord. Just be very patient. You do not want to mess with a market like this. You already had enough opportunities here. We now need to start basically opening up the opportunities, because if you buy into a market like this, you're going to get steamrolled. It's either going to shoot straight to the top and you're going to get, steamrolled again, or this is just going to flip below and you're not going to have enough time by the time it does drop for your expiration. So one, make sure your contracts are longer, especially in this type of a market. Make sure they're like 10 days, 15 days, 6 days, 9 days, and you want to sell them after at least 1 to 2 days. You do not want to hold contracts until the last day. And yeah, just use like $50, $100. Remember, so we had one of the family members use $50 yesterday, and they got into a play we had suggested at the bottom here, which was around $5.99. And by the end of the day, right at the top, they were up around 200 to 300%. Just following the same idea, holding the same first option, not going back and forth all over the place. And no, yeah, of course, not every day is going to be like that, right? That's the one thing I want you to consider. Today is not really a day where you want to focus too much on both sides at the same time, right? You want to focus on just one side. Due to the fact that we have a ghost touch, that side that you would focus on is just straight upside, right? However, at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, you tend to have these reversals on days like today. And it's kind of crazy. We can actually track down days and actually correlate it with another set of days from last month or last week, because literally everything you're seeing right now is just a spitting, it's just like a copy and paste is basically what I was trying to say right there. It's a copy and paste of every other day. It's just different. Think about it. How much times do you see SPY normally, hit a high and drop, right? Normally SPY has about 3 to 4 legs, right? It goes up, then drops, then goes up even higher, then maybe goes down even lower. Or just goes up even higher, then when it goes down, it consolidates above the opening price. You know what I mean? So it's not that random. And as long as you understand that, you can start getting into these awesome plays where, trust me, nobody else is going to get into these plays with you. And if they are, I can guarantee that it's not with the same mindset or thought process, right? So let's take you back to an easy chart. This is one of my favorite charts to look at. It's called supply and demand zones. This chart right here. By far one of my favorite charts. With this chart, it's simple. Calls on top, puts on the bottom. That's it. So you haven't ran to your first put area yet. That's why we haven't gotten to any puts yet, besides the one from yesterday. And we're still in the puts from yesterday to today, right? Because we want to see this market basically fall to this area right down here where my cursor is. So if everybody's looking at my cursor, this is exactly where I want to see the SPY fall to. Right about here. Once it falls to this orange area, I'm going to sell out of my puts, and then I'm going to start to reposition into some micro calls, just in case we start waking up for tomorrow, which is Friday, right? Because you might want to run again to tomorrow, which means you might not crash at all. But since last time it occurred on Monday, and then this week it occurred on Friday, or last Friday, I'm thinking that today, or for this week, it's going to occur on Thursday, because you're just following the pattern, right? It also means that it can occur on Monday or Tuesday of next week. Because think about it. If it occurred on Monday and then it occurred on Friday, you could have another drop again on Monday next week instead of it being on Thursday. Does that make sense? And yeah, so as long as your contracts expire next week Tuesday, next week Monday, you can have the full just range of price action for today and tomorrow. That's the main idea. It's only when you have a contract that's 2 to 3 days out on top of just the weekend, or, you buying that 1 week on for a Friday or Thursday. Just make sure it's not 1 day. No more 1 days. The only time you could buy 1 day is if SPY crashes like how it did last time, where it fell out the sky like this. That's really the only time I like 1 days, because they just maintain their value while you're running up. Because of course it's for the next day, right? You're gonna make less, but it tends to be better than the 0 day. 0 days, especially when you have a big drop, they get absolutely shredded. They just keep losing value until you start confidently choosing a direction, which I'm sure everybody here understands that not all the time you really do that. Sometimes this market's messy. Just look at Tuesday and Monday, right? Monday, you had a large swing. Tuesday, all you did was waste time. That's it. You just killed value. You didn't go up higher. You went down a little bit lower, but you didn't even reach the halfway point. You probably just only hit the quarter point. And no, yeah, so it's just so much improvements that could be made in terms of this trend and what we're doing here. And because of that, I think that it just might reset the whole entire trend here. I think you might just flash crash, drop straight down to the low, and then start to actually organize a proper trend where it's going to be something that looks like this right here. Like this, where it's just moving like that. That's the trend you want SPY to move in, right? Why? Because that's basically the trend that it was moving in all of last year, as you can see. See how it's just gapping up weeks and months here? This is kind of what I want to see here. Every time you run up, you always fall. You then run up again, you fall again. That's basically why I was able to time the market falling every single time last year. Because every single time you would run up, you would fall, run up, and then fall, run up, and then fall, run up, and then fall. And it just kept happening. You just keep doing the same thing. And then when you break it down even more and you add some more information to the table here, such as all my other charts that I have, like all my other, like this one right here, for instance, this is your consolidation zone. These zones basically tell you exactly where SPY is going to go when it starts crashing out the sky here. I have all the buying points for the next 2 years, 3 years. And yeah, we've been just waiting here for months. I kid you not. I actually created this before you ran up to the top, which is kind of cool. Why? Because you're actually respecting it really, really well. Look at that. And you know what's even crazier? I'm about to break your mind right now. Ready for this? I don't oftentimes show anybody this, but let me show everybody this for a second. Whatever I just showed you for 2021, right? Or 2024, which is this year, and 2025, which is this right here, right? Watch this. If I go to 2021, it literally followed the same size boxes. I kid you not. It was the weirdest thing in the world. When I was measuring every month, every single month follows this from 2021. Every single month. That's why I'm worried about this thing just crashing from the sky here. And that's exactly why I do not want you all to aggressively just trade right now. Because I promise you, you have your whole account in this, it's done. This is exactly what made me lose 100,000. It was this drop right here. Literally this drop right here. I lost everything. So please make sure that that doesn't happen to nobody here. I really do not want to, hear that, because it's just so, yeah, it's heart-wrenching. Let me tell you. If it happens, it happens. I'm going to help you, but don't let it happen is what I'm trying to say. So be very mindful. Whenever we reach the top right here, so look at these boxes, right? Look at where the market fell in 2021. And now look at these boxes, right? When I show you the new ones, I want you to realize where we're at. Look at where you fell every time, right? And this is basically telling you where to get the puts now. And when you look at now, you're going to be like, no way. That's how he's been getting 1,000% every day. Let me show you. Look at this. I love it. This is like, oh man. Look at this. How many times did you fall from this same line here last time? Once, twice. So you know how I told everybody you're going to fall at 601? This is how I knew you were going to fall at 601. So remember how we crashed on FOMC? I mean, look at it. And I don't know who else around the world had these levels, but I don't know. These are pretty cool. Did I say cool or good? I don't even know what I just said right there. I was looking at these prices for 578 to 568, and that's pretty much my next major level here that I want this market to fall to. So once we reach this bottom level down here, we're going to rehop into the 30 to 60 day calls, potentially even longer than that for a larger swing to the upside. And that's pretty much all, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I care about. And this is another chart that's kind of like the last one, but it's a lot of stuff on it, let me tell ya. This one right here is one of my favorite ones. Look how much drops or jumps we timed. It's crazy. Look at this. Look how it's touching the lines perfectly. Once. I mean, the drop here, you could say we timed it, but not really. I would have probably bought calls here, and I would have been getting destroyed for like 5 days in a row until it flipped above. But no, yeah, that's exactly why you buy 30 days out. Because for 5 days, you would have been just getting destroyed, and you could have averaged down here. By the time it flipped up to break even, you would have been insanely profitable. And again, this is why you only put 1/4 of your account into these trades. Because by the time it hit the middle, you might have 2/4 or maybe almost 3/4, but you're going to be massively up. And you never want to over leverage past that, right? You look at this line right here, hits it again, we get the calls, hits it again, we get the calls. And the point I'm trying to make by showing you this is not to make you feel bad for missing out, not to make you feel stupid, not to make you feel like this is not going to happen again, not to make you feel like this is being rubbed in your face, but for you to understand, no, yeah, we perfectly timed this stuff. So if you're trying to perfectly time it, this is the right place to be. Point blank. And many times I would be scared to say that, you know? Because of course, why would you want to have people watching you and eyes all over you and you say this and everybody else is saying something different now? You know what I mean? It just enters into a little weird environment. And now, yeah, I'm over all that. So point blank, everybody. This is exactly what we have here. I want to see us fall and collapse straight down to this bottom area. Consolidate just like these last few days. Once I get that consolidation, I might get into a call for another little something, right? I could definitely see it. If it reverses now and you fall to this low and you stay above 601, no, yeah, you're definitely going to break up to the highs next time. So if you touch 601, you could get like a 615 call. That's not a horrible idea. Just be very careful if this falls underneath 601. Remember, that's my monthly and yearly put level. 601. So once you fall below 601, the market could actually fall out the sky here. I don't think anybody's ready for that. I'll be honest with you. I truly don't think that everybody thinks the market is at the top. I do not think everybody knows that for some reason. It feels like everybody thinks the market's going to run to 640, 630, which I agree. I definitely do see that it could run to that level. In fact, I've had 640 levels. I have levels all the way up to 800, right? So I'm prepared for this to run up to 640, 700, 800, even when it gets above that. But is that supposed to happen? Is that normal? Is this logical? And the answer is, obviously no. So because of that, we need to reach a level of logic where things make sense. When they don't make sense, we have to make it make sense until it widely makes sense without us actually trying to make it make sense. Does that make sense? I sound so like... Basically, until the news and everything is basically clear, everybody at this point is making up their own assumptions and their own predictions based off of what can happen from what we do know. But once that information is cleared and we do know what's happening, we do know what's going on, we understand how the Fed is going to pause or increase rates for the next meeting. Because remember, now it's in 40 days for the next FOMC. CPI is next week, so CPI is going to be very important. Unemployment data is tomorrow. Unemployment data is going to be very important. And yeah, so we're going to go from unemployment data to then CPI, which is then going to make stuff a little bit more simpler. It'll clear up some fog. PPI is going to come out right after CPI, which is again going to clear up some fog. PPI is future CPI. So when you have a PPI report coming out after CPI, it tends to mess with it a little bit. Or is it before? I just confused myself right there. Give me 1 second. So when PPI is before... Yeah. When PPI is before CPI, you tend to get this really weird switch up in the market. And the reason why that happens is because PPI is future CPI, correct? So, boom. Let's just say on a random Wednesday, PPI comes out. and it states that within 3 months, this is what CPI is supposed to look like. Well, what's going to happen is if CPI comes out the next day and it then is terrible or has something that's not truly being aligned with that PPI that just came out the previous day, you tend to get a dramatic reaction that next day. So PPI tends to be a little bit smaller of a reaction because it's kind of like clearing the fog, making everybody know what's going to happen for the next 3 months, making everybody feel comfortable again. And then CPI is just like hammering down the bad stuff and making you feel worse, making you feel crazy, and like stuff is all over the place. Same thing with unemployment data. They control unemployment data and the non-farm payroll thing. They always mess with that. You can't go from having 200,000 unemployment or let's just say your rate is at 200,000, right? In terms of those that are unemployed per X, million person, right? Per X thousand people. Well, if that's the case, how the hell do you go to 30,000 the next month, 20,000 the next month? And then the month after that, now it's at 300K, basically making up for what was wrong on that other report, but now they're just trying to make it make sense. After 1 year of having to deal with this nonsense and blowing half of my accounts, I decided to never watch news and pay attention to news again. And you know what's the wildest thing? No, yeah. I still don't pay attention to news right now. I'm not going to read the CPI that comes out next week. I haven't read CPI in over 6 months. And I've never traded better. And it's wild. Let me tell you. I don't watch no news. I don't watch no YouTubers no more. And I trade so phenomenally. It doesn't make sense to me. But then again, it kind of makes sense because everybody's giving you their interpretation, what they think, what they know, and how they've basically, created their own craft. There's really good traders out there. There's a lot of good traders. But for the most part, there's a lot of traders that are pretty much, they just have no idea, no clue in the world as to what to do in terms of improvement, in terms of what to learn, in terms of a baseline, in terms of what they do know that is incorrect. It's just all over the place, truly. So, no, yeah, I need you all to just take your time, document everything you see. If you see an article that tells you Tesla's gonna explode after buying 3 battery packs and they just offloaded this and that, I don't care what the news is. Search up 20 articles, and until you find 10 to 20 articles with that same information from various different perspectives, various different authors, then you can actually start to arrange a proper opinion as to what's happening, what's going on. Most people, you know what they do, right? They see one piece of news, one sentence, and they run with it. And that's the problem here. As long as you're breaking things down meticulously, you're going to smoke this market every single time. I kid you not. It's like, it's pretty much just brainless. But then we get too into it. But then, even though you're getting real into it, and, last month you just made a couple crazy brainless trades and you're doing amazing. You know what happens, right? You get overconfident and you start doing as good as, you initially was doing. And now, yeah, there's literally a reason for all of the problems that I see every single day. And as long as we can highlight that, truly nobody here is going to have a problem. And even when we do have a problem, we'll just smack it out the park that same day, get it cleared up, and have you just good to go, really. Especially as a team here. We need everybody to look out for each other, which we do. And I'm very happy about that, Whenever somebody needs help, we tend to have a couple other individuals helping them out. And I really do appreciate that. But remember, family, take this slow. Take this trend really slow. We're not paying attention to the small term price action at all. We're paying attention to the bigger trend. Basically, your monthly and weekly trend is what I'm looking at right now. And then we're using it to trade the 5-day contracts. That's basically the best way for me to make that make sense. Which also, by the way, a lot of individuals, they have a hard time kind of looking at the market from a bird's eye view. And literally the best thing I could tell you is just keep your chart on like the 15-minute or 1 hour. Keep an extra chart there and then just glance at it every now and then. And you're going to start seeing some funny little correlations and little patterns with pretty much everything else. Like right here, for instance, right? You ran from here up here towards the top. You're higher than where you were over here, and you're lower than where you were over here, which means I could definitely see you falling right back down in here. That looks really, really good. If you could fall to the bottom of this wedge, like this purple one right here, that would be amazing. So we'll just be patient here. We already got our plays. Remember, last time we got our play right here, we had another play right here on Friday. All you're going to do if you don't have a play here, if you got a play here, the only other time that you're going to buy a put when you're looking at this on the weekly is right on top of everything, right? You're not going to buy it anywhere else here. It's a waste of time. That's what you should tell yourself, just so you're not getting involved in a mess, right? Once it gets above this area, boom, right into the puts. If it holds above it, offset that with some calls. That's it. That's really all you have to do. I would personally buy a 30-day put once again, just so I don't have to worry about the small-term price action. I don't want to worry about that. I don't have to worry about the next day and 2 days after and 3 days after. I'd rather worry about that with the smaller options. For my bigger option, I want to worry about that within a week or 2 weeks. So, no, yeah, just so we don't have to get rid of it soon and get rid of it fast. Now, if you're looking at where SPY is at, it's at 605, right? The first level that we looked at this morning was that same midpoint, 605, as you can see right here, right? If it's stuck in the midpoint, you should not be rushing it at all. You could play the calls here if you want, but I would much rather play the calls at this golden one. A little bit below it. That orange area right below it looks really, really, really good for calls. Anything else we need to look at? Euro USDs, doing all right. Microsoft, what's going on? Looks like you're getting sold off a little bit here. Yep, you are. We're going to keep the Microsoft till tomorrow. We have 15 days still. AMD, we still have 2 months. Nvidia, we still have another month. So we're just slowly buying into a lot of these plays for greater upside, family. We're basically trying to time the whole entire market running back up here. That's why I was telling everybody I kind of don't want it to start running now. We gotta wait for SPY to break above that 606, 6010, 6010. 606 to 610. Once we break that level, you could see this potentially start to get accelerated to a new high. 618, 620s. Once we hit 622, I'm going to buy another put for 90 days out to potentially 360 days out. Once we hit 620, once we hit 633, I'm going to do the same. And then once we hit 655, I'm doing the same. Then I'm going to take a break until this runs to about 680. Once we get above 680, 684, we're going to test the puts again. And then once again at around 700. So we have all these levels broken down. We're good. We don't got to rush it. We don't got to be worried. We just got to make sure we maximize on the short term right now. You know? So that by the time it hits that crazy $700 price tag, even if it's going to be next year, because it can happen, markets could still be delusional. You know? SPY is supposed to be at around 450 right now to 480. So yeah, you're gonna get a collapse real soon here. I'm just trying to time it. I'm trying to see if it's gonna happen in June or October. Right now it looks like June. But I know if the Fed does something, you know, if the Fed messes up, they could make it happen before June, like May. So right now, in terms of my radar, in terms of my predictions for yearly downside, it's gonna be around June and October. So around May and April, we're gonna start buying some yearly to 2 year out puts for SPY. I'm telling you, we're going to time this whole entire drop. It's going to happen. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see what the contracts are going to be after that. I want to see if we could turn, like, imagine turning $1,000 into 100K. I've seen somebody do it once. They turned $1,000 into $250,000 with just one trade. I believe it was SPX too. I don't believe it was SPY. But no, yeah, they had time like a $70 to $100 run, I think. I think that's what it was. If not, a little bit shorter than that. I remember one time I saw somebody they turned $1,500 into around like 80,000 with just a SPX play after it had dropped $8. So remember how I was telling everybody here, like, it was me and a few of you before I created my Discord, when I was still with a few of you in another Discord. We were looking at the price action and we were noticing, we were like, yo, why does SPY, like, why does it drop like $8 to $9 like once every month, once every 2 months? And then we started backtracking and backtracking, and we basically broke down every single time the SPY had ran up $8 to $9 within the last 4 years. And doing so allowed us to then understand how to then time gaps and jumps. And in October and in November, we were focused on training how to time gaps. So we were timing gaps in October. We were doing a little bit more in November. We kind of stopped in December, and then we resumed it in January, where last week we basically timed 2 giant gaps out the sky. This one up here, and then this one up here. And now because of those, we're going into this next year with the assumption that we know how to time $10 days, and we know when they're going to happen. And guess what, family? This is exactly the type of area where said situation can happen. That's the reason why I'm saying it now. So, of course, are you going to full port? I would hope not, because what happens if the market opens up at 610 tomorrow? So I would hope you're not going to full port. But I would hope that you're going to get something 5 days out, 6 days out for downside, because that is an awesome play right here. Even if you're not at the absolute high, because guess what, family? Is this high at this high? No, it's less than. Which means this high, which is where we're currently at, could be less than this high. It could still go up more. You see, it created a wedge, right? You hit the top here, you hit the top here. So it would need to run to 609 right now, which is why I told everybody you might be able to run up here again. So that's why we're not going to, rush it. It might just hit this and then just crash out the sky again, right? Just be patient. And since it's at the midpoint, we don't really want to focus on buying anything right now. They're purposefully putting you in weird areas when you open up so that the price action is just caving in on itself. That's why you open it up in the middle here. But like yesterday, yesterday, same thing. Yeah, you open up in the middle. And then this day over here, you open up in the middle again. I just realized that. But then when you hit the bottom down here, you see how they did that? For sure, they made you hit this. The purple, and you held. So, you're not even holding here properly. You're holding below it. Very aggressive. We also created this chart. Look at the blue circles, or look at the blue arrows, the dark blue, then look at the light blue. Don't they all look the same thing? And I started seeing that, and I was like, wait a second. Why does this all look the same thing? You got the blue one right here, then it drops to a midpoint, then you have a smaller blue, then it hits a high, then you have the next blue, then you hit the middle point again, just like you did over here, and that's basically the same situation here. You see how I just basically copied and pasted it from last week? This was like the easiest trade in like the last 2-3 months here. So if you did not catch this trade here, again, start to realize that it was one of the easiest trades, and the reason why you didn't catch this is because you're looking too short term. I already know why you didn't catch it. You don't even have to tell me that. It's just you're looking too short term, and we need to start fixing that as well. That's another issue we had last year, which led a couple awesome people, awesome individuals to blast their accounts and not be able to be in this Discord no more. And I don't want that to happen no more. I want everybody to truly never take a loss again. And in order to do so, we need to buy at certain times, sell at certain times, and wait at other times, right? It only makes sense. Alrighty, family. There's nothing else we have to look at now. We already talked about everything. We talked about what we think of this trend. We showed you where we want this to fall to, which is right down here at 596. If not, right down here at 580. Or you just break the high and we play calls. We could do that as well, right? And that's pretty much all, family. That is your whole entire breakdown. We can go to some smaller charts here just to see how we added some extra information. Oh my god, I just deleted that. Whoops. I was it was perfectly on top of the X. So this is how we're going to do this going into the next week here. Because I'm not going to be live on YouTube at all. We're just going to be on the Discord. I just need you all to just look at the channels where I have the actual ticker. So if you need SPY information, if you need Tesla information, again, just look at the channels where you have said stock, said ticker, and everything's going to be posted there. I'll try to see if I can go live on YouTube, but I'll have to see. Not even live on YouTube, live on the Discord, for that matter. But we'll have to see here. I didn't get whatever you call that thing to allow me to do that. SPY is still here. Yep. We're still waiting for this. We still think this could run up higher. We want to potentially see if Friday is going to be the next high of the whole entire trend here, because there's still a little bit left, right? You still got a little bit right here, and as well as a little bit up to the top. If not, again, you're just going to collapse here. Okay. Let's go to this chart and let's unhide everything now. Let's zoom in. What level is this? 605.34. All right. Let's go back to this chart here. Remember, family, the SPY is currently just stuck at the same opening price. So you should not be putting any large amount of capital into this. You shouldn't be wasting your money, right? Not one bit. You all got this. I know you could do it. Let's see if this is going to speed up. I hope it speeds up in the next 6 minutes. I hope it just flashes right back down. That would make my day right there. And then we're going to hop into a call the second it hits this orange one down here. Come on, do it. Come on, SPY. Trend like how you're supposed to trend. Which is beautiful, you know, that we can actually see the market in this fashion, have a certain concept, and now fruitfully play with that same concept, and it actually work out. Maybe not perfect. It might not work out and we get 1,000% every time, right? Of course. But I mean, as long as we're acknowledging that, we're going to do amazing here. Every single day, family. And then when you take a loss, guess what your losses are going to be compared to your wins? You know what I mean? I'm sure you could assume. Think about it. Monday we made 2,500, and in total this whole entire week, we only lost $120 in total, with just insurance plays or holding on to some plays to see what would happen. Right? Again, only $120. Now with these, of course, with these SPY plays from yesterday, we're down a little bit more now, of course, but from that point to now, only 120. Phenomenal. I don't even know what's the multiplication. What is that, like times 10? Times 20? I think it's times 10, yeah. No, yeah, times 10. Because we made a little bit over 2,000. I think we made around like 3,000, 4,000 last week. I forgot, honestly. Because this Monday, we ended up making a little bit more as well from our Friday plays, right? So that was pretty awesome for Monday. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do here. We're gonna turn off the YouTube now. So for those of you that are currently watching this on YouTube, because I like to be fair, and sometimes I'm a little I do a little too much, right? Look at the levels that we currently have here. You're only gonna get a couple seconds to look at this. I'm turning everything down, and I'll see you all in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. For those of you that want to join, just letting you know, now is going to be the last time to upgrade for 200 after this month. Anybody new that tries to join is going to have to join for $400. I'm just letting everybody know that. So this is the last month we're doing this, and that's because we're making a year. It's about to be officially a year since we first started, which is around March 4th. So around that time, there's going to be a lot of changes. So I'm just letting everybody know again, there's going to be a lot of changes. So yeah, very slow, everybody. I heard this quote yesterday, and I kind of needed to hear something like that. The quote basically stated that if you want to go far in life, you gotta really go slow. I've been rushing too much things, and trying to get 1,001 people to join, and it's been all over the place last year, and I don't want to deal with that no more. I want things to fruitfully grow with the team we have here and the family we have here, and things will happen when they're supposed to happen, is how I think of it now. So instead of me getting frustrated and being like, nah, damn, that should have happened, we should have had this, or we should have had that, or X amount of people shouldn't have lost, or X amount of people should have made profit with that play, or X amount of people didn't call me for one-on-ones, or it doesn't matter. None of that really matters, because the fact remains that we're still here trying to improve, trying to change, and the fact that we are